Welcome to Behind the Screen, where we take you past the pixels and into the real lives of content creators, streamers, and artists from around the world. In this series, we explore the journeys, inspirations, and challenges that shape the people behind the screens. From epic gaming moments and creative breakthroughs to the everyday struggles of life, each episode brings you closer to the heart of what it means to be a creator in today's digital landscape. Hosted by Digi, this series is all about connection, inspiration, and celebrating the passion that drives us all. Today, we're diving into the world of Phoenix Flair, a content creator who brings a vibrant mix of humor, fandom passion, and a unique personal touch to their streams and videos. From their love of Hazbin Hotel and plushie collecting to navigating the digital landscape with their quirky and relatable personality, Phoenix shares their journey of finding community, battling the awkward moments, and embracing the things that make them stand out. Join us as we chat about their favorite fandoms, the highs and lows of content creation, and what drives them to keep pushing forward in their creative endeavors. Let's get started.
It is a good way. And the funny thing is that when I first met you, I was laughing my ass off. That my wife next to me, she was like, "What are you laughing about?" And then I explained the situation because I was talking to you via Discord, and then I see that you're streaming, and I'm like, "Oh, well, let me check out the her her stream. Let me see how it goes." And as I'm jumping in, you're like, "Chat, this guy is just like giving me these questions and I don't know what to say." And I'm like, "Oh my God, this is a gold mine. Yes." Perfect. I can ask all the questions. It's like I'm cheating on a test.
Yeah.
But you took it with such stride, and what I loved about it is that the way that you communicated via text, it was very interesting. The things that you said, the content that you create, it was good. But what added the flair, or what actually sold me and my producer on you, was your personality. Was you freaking out and you just interacted with your chat and just being, and I don't say this in a bad way, your weird self. And that's what I like. That pizzazz was like what sold me on it so well. And I was like, I gotta get them here in this interview. Because it is interesting, and not only that, you are part of a fandom that I am not familiar with. And to be honest, I had an interview yesterday. I don't know if you saw. It was with this girl that she organizes bronies conventions, and she just mentioned Hazbin Hotel. And I was like, well, that's funny because I'm interviewing Phoenix Flair, and she's like a super huge fan of this. And then she tells me, have you seen it? I was like, no, I haven't. I need to say, dude, you gotta watch it. You gotta watch it, at least for research purposes. Watch at least 2 or 3 episodes, and you're gonna love it. And I was like, of course, I'll try it, because she's more or less my same age, and we grew up with Wild Cartoon Network, where they had like a really bunch of weird cartoons that it was almost uncensored. And when I find out that there is some slight connections with Hazbin Hotels, and also there's an intertwine with the Brony fandom, and then this woman comes in, which is the creator of the Powerpuff Girls, of My Little Pony, and she created so much stuff that I always liked as a little kid. And I was like, God damn, I gotta try this out. I gotta start looking into these fandoms. So I did watch Hazbin, and I'm going to check out My Little Pony to see what the whole deal is about, because I'm just kind of expanding my palette. With that said, I loved it. Hazbin Hotel, I watched, I think, 4 episodes. It's
you gotta
incredible.
finish it. It's only 8.
I know. The thing is that, I have other stuff to do, but after I finished my interview, I had an hour and a half to watch some of it, and I have a surround sound system on my living room, and I did not expect the music to hit me so hard, because the sound design is just chef's kiss, so good. It's so good, and the music was freaking fantastic. I don't know if you know this, I live near New York City, and so I've been to a lot of Broadway plays, and then you kind of get this Broadway feel to it. It was so cool. I love the experience.
Yeah, a lot of the voice actors are actually part of Broadway. That's the field that Vivian was trying to go for with it.
Yeah, so and it's so weird because you usually you have these adult cartoons and you kind of never think about adding music into it or making it musical. And it kind of hit me when I was just listening to the music. I was like, this is made mostly for millennials that grew up on the golden age of Disney, where the music was just banging good. And you can clearly see that on the influences. And I mean, that's kind of why I fell in love with it. And I'm definitely going to be seeing more of it. But what made you gravitate towards it?
Well, with Hazbin at least, I was introduced to it by a friend right when the pilot dropped.
Yeah.
And then from there they did like a whole announcement video, like thanking everyone for their support, and also like teasing at, I believe it was Help a Boss pilot as well, and that came out like
Yeah.
a week after that one. And I was like,
Oh.
oh, this is a silly little show. I'll watch it, and like I'll keep a track with it. And I just kind of had it in the back of my mind. And then around like Halloween of like 2020 is when I started collecting stuff, and then that's really when I took a.
That's when your obsession just
Yeah,
got out of
it just
control.
took off, and I'm like, yeah, this is it. This is my personality now.
Yeah, so much so that, I mean, you have a whole channel that part of it is dedicated to just looking at merch. That's insane.
Yeah.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was I was collecting, and I didn't have a lot of people to share it with, because I don't
Yeah.
have the people I have now at the time, and I didn't have like IRL friends that really enjoyed watching Hazbin or Helva or enjoyed VisiPop content. So I just I was doing my own thing with, I think I just started Wattpad Book Club, and I just had all this merch. I'm like, well, I might as well just show this all off. Maybe I could find some common ground with like some people that are interested. And I didn't expect for that video to take off like crazy. So I was like, well, I might as well I don't know, just review the new shit when it comes out. That seems pretty cool. And then I just been doing this for now.
It's curious because a lot of the people that I've interviewed, it seems that they decided to do something weird, and it just resonated with a fandom they didn't even know that was out there, and then they blew up. Mm-hmm. So it's curious that you did the same thing, and so the Hazbin thing was before or after your plushie obsession as well.
Oh, that plushie obsession's been a thing since I was a kid. They're just so soft and squishy. And then I got into like SMG4, and that has now its own plushie thing. And then Squishmallows are cute too. But
so what is SMG4?
Oh, it's a YouTuber on it's a YouTuber from Australia. Yeah, Australia.
Yeah.
That runs their own company called Glitch, and they make their own little animation production shows like Meta Runner. What might come to mind is the Amazing Digital Circus, because that's in circulation right now.
Okay.
And in Murder Drones, that just wrapped up, and I've been a fan of that, and they have a lot of plushies, so I was like, oh, I've got to give back to the show. That way they can keep going. Might as well buy a plushie. And
buy one and it turns into 100.
Yeah. Oh, I do have like 50 behind me right now.
Yeah, I know. I saw it on your stream when you turned on the camera and you're like, oh, here's all my plushies. And I thought you were just going to show like 5 or 6. And I'm like, God damn. I mean, this is insane. In a good way. I mean, I love it when people just get obsessed with certain things that it's like their thing. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, what is it about like the plushie itself? Can it be another type of merch, or is it just specifically plushies that you like?
Well, I think it's just the plushies that I like, because they're just so cute. I don't. There's not a character that I hate that I wouldn't get the plush of. Yeah. But as for like VisiPop, it's a character, and I collect everything of that character. And then other things, I'm like, I'll get a plushie because I like plushies.
So, I mean, what are you gonna do if you ever move somewhere else? Like, are you guys just gonna have a whole truckload of plushies?
Yeah, probably. I'm gonna have to shove these in like garbage bags to carry them easier instead of boxes, and just throw them at my new office. And I'm like, yep, that's their new home.
So, I mean, it's gonna be wild because you're also a huge fan of Pokemon, and Pokemon and plushies like go together like cookies and milk. It's like it's to collect. Mm. So I guess like you have like every single Pokemon plushie.
I only have one, and it's on my
What?
desk right now. It's a little Lilligant. I want to just get the Pokemon that I've had as party Pokemon in my last LPs that I've done, just
Okay.
as like a little reminder of all the Pokemon I've killed over the years.
Wow.
I'm very bad at Nuzlocke.
That's weird. I would think that you would have like every single Pokemon because it's like the fandom just gives itself to that, to just collecting.
Yeah, I do have a lot of Squirtle ones. They're just in the basement right now because we don't have a lot of room. So, but Squirtle's my favorite.
Squirtle was pretty awesome. I mean, it was when I played, and I don't want to date myself here, but when I started playing Pokemon Red and Blue, I always like switched between Squirtle or Charmander to be my starter. I was okay with Bulbasaur. Don't know why I never connected with Bulbasaur at all. Yeah, but fun memories. Just it's been a while since I've played those games. Because I've heard that the newest ones, the newest Pokemons, came out pretty glitchy and they didn't work too well.
Yeah, like almost like half-baked. You know, the concept was there, the idea was there. They just needed to polish a couple things.
But that's weird because, I mean, with the Pokemon that I grew up in, everything was extremely polished. I mean, you couldn't update a game once it was released. So, and I never heard that from Nintendo. Nintendo was always like they would polish the hell out of a game before they would release it. And now I was surprised when I saw that these newer Pokemon games, they have their glitchiness and, you know, I'm not going to say they're ruined completely. I haven't played them in a while. But I was curious, like you as a Pokemon fan, if you had any opinions of that, or you're like, oh, you know, it's absolutely fine. People are just blowing it out of proportion.
Well, I don't know if I have an opinion, basically. I just buy them when they come out, and I just play them, and I just have, like, the little adventure, maybe buy the DLC, and then I'll just do, like, some shiny hunting before the next game comes out, and then I forget about it.
That's absolutely fine. And so this whole YouTube journey that you had, I mean, when did it start?
Originally, I can't, hold on. I don't know an exact date. I know it was when I was still in middle school, technically. I started a YouTube channel on my on my school email that was given to me, and that was quickly deleted because you weren't allowed to do that. But yeah, but at least this account that I'm currently still uploading to, it was started in 2017, and yeah, I would just upload shitty gaming content where I didn't know anything about OBS or editing or audio quality or how to do anything. So what I would do is I would take my phone. This is when I think YouTube Capture was still an app. It's no longer an app now.
Okay.
I would get my YouTube Capture on my phone, set it up to angle at my Wii U gamepad, and then record the footage that way, and then just send it off. No editing, no reviewing.
Just raw dog it like that.
Yeah, and it was awful. The audio was so bad. Since it was recording a screen, you can tell.
Yeah, there was a lot of flickering and stuff. Yeah. And so you did mention that you kind of dropped off out of that for a little while.
Well, I mean, I would just do it whenever I wanted to. So there would be moments where I would just upload like every day for a month straight and then just ghost the channel for like 7 months. I pulled like a JonTron basically. I just abandoned everything and just did my own thing and then came back like nothing happened.
So was there a reason why, like, or did life just get in the way and you forgot about it?
I think I think it was life. I know I started uploading at the beginning of COVID, and then I just dropped off because I got way too busy with doing school and full-time job, and then doing a couple other things. And then, and then just picked
you
up.
were in school during COVID then.
Yeah, it was a weird time. It was in the last semester of my senior year. It was March, and they were told, like, oh, you'll come back in, like, 2 weeks. We just gotta figure something out. And then 2 weeks turned into, like, 2 months, and then that was it. And then I just went up to the office and got handed my diploma, a little bottle of water, and I guess we were supposed to... Like,
a bottle of water?
Yeah.
Here you go, after 18 years.
Yeah, so that's how I got my diploma.
Wow.
And then I just went straight into community college right after that. And then that was, like... I got all my classes in person, and I guess finally COVID hit that in, like, June. Not June. around like August, September, and then half my classes were still in person, but the other half went online, which... So I went from like having like, I would go into class at 9 and be in person, and then right afterwards I had to get on my computer and pull up the like a stream of like my other class, and then have my laptop in my car while I drive home because I'm not going to sit in the library.
Yeah, I know. Wow. Holy crap.
Yeah, it was a weird time. And then from there I was like, I'm just going to switch online. I can cheat off of like Chegg this way, so.
Yeah, I mean, I've interviewed a few people that also went through that, and because I didn't, I was working, so they basically moved all of us just to work from home. So for us, it was like, you know, and I don't have kids, so to me it wasn't a big deal. But I always did wonder, like, what was it like to just have your whole school life flipped on its head, and then you go into this completely online world or digital world because you can't see your friends, you can't speak with your teachers, and classes all of a sudden become this absolutely boring YouTube video that you cannot skip. And I mean, what are you learning at that point? Because nobody knew how to adapt all of this stuff into digital, even including teachers. They didn't know how to adapt what they already had planned a year ahead of time into a computer screen. When, to be honest, even adults don't pay attention in Zoom calls. Even adults, if they have the chance to turn off their cameras, they effing will, just to do something else. I don't know what you studied at community college or if you're still there.
Oh, I'm done. I've been done for like a year and a half, I think, or maybe 2. It's been a while.
Oh, okay. So what did you study at community college?
Finance.
Ooh, finance. And look at me talking about finance with... So that's kind of a big deal. So what are you planning to do with that?
I'm still currently I am working for I don't think I could say the name without doxing because it's a small business.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say I do some accounting work. I write checks, but mostly it's me like putting in invoices and then putting in the receipt payment and then clearing it. And then doing purchase orders, and then doing inspections, because they do electrical, so I'm, like, scheduling, like, rough-ins and finals and some, like, stall services as well.
Yeah, I did that, too. I was doing three-way matching with the POs, and then inputting data, and majority of the time with me, the issue was having a lot of boomers that just did not know how to do the classic turn to PDF type of thing, or how to... They had to do a ton of copy and paste functions at like 500 times in order to complete a task. And I'm like, dude, just use a macro, my guy. You can just break down this task that took you 5 hours into 5 minutes. And so, yeah, I had to deal with a lot of that stuff too. So, I understand. Yeah. So, yeah, that was my comment in terms of like studying from home, and especially finance, because there's a lot of math involved. I don't know if you had to take calculus and stuff like that. And that had to be like a pain.
It wasn't really. It was really easy for some
really?
reason. At least to me it was, because I just know math really fast, so it was easy for me to click onto. The one I hated the most was like psychology. I don't know why I needed a psychology credit to get a finance degree, but I had to.
What?
Yeah.
That's weird because, I mean, you tend to think that maybe you might go into a career of finance and then show to the world in terms of a YouTube channel. Like you want to talk about finance or you want to talk about the stock market and stuff like that. But then you see your YouTube channel is like, absolutely not. I'm not doing any of that stuff whatsoever. So is this something that you just want to pursue as a career, or you just want to little by little shift off to YouTube and content creation if that's possible?
I'll probably stick with the day job that I have, because I just need, like, constant stability, I guess. But the YouTube thing, if I ever get to the point where I do start making money, it would just be, like, a side thing, where I get a little bit of extra money here and there, so I can make some irresponsible decisions with said money. But
yeah, of course.
That'll be the spending money that I can use on fan-made merch to fill my shrine that I have.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the YouTubers that I follow way back when, in like 2008, it was the same deal. They were doing their day job, and little by little, they got to that peak point where they're like, you know what? After this job, I'm doing this like full on. And it was cool because you see them growing up, and it's like you're watching character development live. You're seeing that this person's dreams are coming true, and how they can dedicate their whole life for what they love, and they can just throw away that check or that last check they got from their job, and they're like, "This is my deal now," and it's just pretty incredible. I mean, I started with looking at YouTube since it just became a reality at 2008, and just looking at all these small time creators where during a time having 1,500 views in a video made you like YouTube famous was like, oh my God, that was amazing. And now it's not like that. Now it's a whole business within itself. So if you, let's say you do get that dream to become a reality, and you become that YouTuber in terms of how big it is, like how you wanted it to be, would you consider making merch, your own plushies, your own shirts, your own stuff?
At least, definitely a plushie. I would love a little version of my little dude, just for me to hold.
Yeah.
But,
so the avatar is your own creation?
No, my friend Astro Gummy actually made it. I commissioned them for it, and that one has little variations where for October, for Spooky Month, I have it as a little skeleton, and then there's also like it wearing like a little scarf and hat for like winter, because it gets a little chilly, and I hate the cold.
Yeah, and what time zone are you again? I forgot.
EST.
Oh, you are in EST. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're in the Northeast. Okay.
Yeah, on this, what is it, Pacific Ocean? The Atlantic? It's one of the oceans.
Pacific Ocean, I was
there.
like, wait. They just got turned around. Okay, so we are on the same time.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the other YouTubers that I interviewed, that they're on like the Pacific Coast, and I got another guy that's in Louisiana. It's a pain because I have to kind of like, what time zone are you in? So I got to do this basic math to be like, okay, if this is your time, then this is my time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I have an artist that I get shit from. Can I curse? I forgot to ask if I could curse.
Yeah,
okay.
You can absolutely can. This is not like a super family friendly program. You're good.
Oh, thank God. I have a friend, Sage. We record for Wattpad Book Club constantly, and I have to try to figure out his time zone because he's all the way in the UK. So like 4 p.m. like here right now is probably like I think like 9 p.m. or maybe 10. So like I'll be calling him at like 8 p.m. and he's like trying to sleep at 2 in the morning.
I got you one better. The person that did this avatar that you see right now, her name is Aloon, and she's in New Zealand. So her time, it's like crazy. I always have to make sure if I need to request something from them, I have to wait until like 12 a.m. or something, because that's kind of when they get up. And that's when I can just start like spamming them. Hey, look, did you see this? Did you see that? I need this. So I have to like give everything to them. But by that time, I'm ready for bed. So I have to like coordinate with them. Having an artist in New Zealand, it's just crazy. So I definitely understand that. That's insane. And so you dropped off for a while with YouTube because life got in the way, rightly so. But then you mentioned your boyfriend / husband, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
His pronouns are he, right?
Yeah, him.
Him. So he got you into it as like telling you what type of content to create, or just kind of cheered you on to, hey, try it again, do it again?
Yeah, I think I brought it up just like randomly during like the first couple of months of knowing him. I'm like, yeah, I had this shitty YouTube channel, and I still have like 40 people that still subscribe for some reason. And he was like, well, I was like, how did you do? I'm like, well, and then I told him exactly how I did it, and he's like, well, if you ever want to do it again, like I can show you, because like he knows a lot more programs than I do, because he's a computer science major, just a big nerd emoji. So like he showed me OBS and like how to like just to look at it and whatnot to see if I like the feel of it, and then from there I put it on my laptop and I was like, what do I even start with? And then I think I started with a tier list of who the strongest total drama character was, and like did 3 parts and then abandoned it at 2 parts because I didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, go ahead.
And then the VisiPop video happened, and then like I just kept using it and then adding more programs. Like I think Filmora now for editing, and I have a bunch of other shit that I use. I got hooked on DaVinci Resolve. I absolutely
flabbergasted that this program is free, because my thing was like, oh, I want to start editing because I like to do my own stuff. And my fear was like, holy crap, I have friends that do editing and I know that this stuff is expensive, these programs. Thankfully, I remembered a YouTube channel that does like editing. They teach editing, and then they like, dude, just download DaVinci Resolve. It's completely free, and the basic stuff that you need is there. And so all of the videos that I've edited, including TikToks and stuff, have just been done by DaVinci Resolve, and it's just excellent. So I'm glad that, we have that opportunity to have that sort of free stuff to kind of get yourself started, because it does feel intimidating thinking that you got to run over to Best Buy and get the best microphone, the best camera, the best headphones, so you can just kind of match up the same vibe and energy as like any other 1 million sub creator. At least that's how I thought about it when I started. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, my idea is to take this little guy, this avatar, and maybe turn it into a 3D model. Right now, I don't know. Some people say that they like the charm because it kind of reminds them of Stardew Valley, one of the avatars.
Oh,
so,
Harvey?
I don't know. I haven't played. I haven't played Stardew Valley. So I have a friend on the Discord. Her name is Shiro, and she's completely obsessed with it. And she said, "Dude, don't change it. It looks perfect. You look like a Stardew Valley character." And it's like, okay, well, fine. If you like it, you like it. All right. Yeah. So it's pretty well. I need to get into Stardew Valley because everybody keeps saying it's so amazing, it's great, and I was a big fan of Harvest Moon. I don't know if you know of the franchise.
No, I do not.
So Stardew Valley was actually inspired by Harvest Moon. It was a PS2 game, GameCube, I'm gonna say, and it's imagine just Stardew Valley but in like low poly 3D. And you didn't do a lot of crafting because crafting back then was non-existent, but it was farming. But the twist was that you got to create, have relationships with people in the farming community. You could marry, you could have a kid, raise your cattle or whatever. And I love that stuff. And so when Stardew Valley came out, I started playing it on early access. But, later on, I kind of forgot about it and I started playing a bunch of other stuff. Mm-hmm. But I do have to get back into it because, the stuff that people say that you can do, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So is that like your thing, the cozy games, or are you switch in between?
I mean, as long as it's a good game, I'll play it. Like, I'll play horror games, cozy, and then like the RPGs. I don't really do I'm trying to think of the classification of it, like the Valorant, the Counter-Strike, and Deadlock. I think that's an MMORPG. I don't think that's right.
Oh, well, I think I forgot about Deadlock, but I know that Valorant is a type of competitive shooter.
Yeah, I don't do good at those. I would get swamped immediately.
Me neither. I think the only shooter that I got into, meaning multiplayer, was Overwatch, and mainly because of the characters. That's basically it. Mm. Yeah, because it did remind me a little bit of that Pixar animation style. Mm-hmm. So I definitely like that, and I kind of gravitated towards them, but never been that big fan of just getting into a lobby, people screaming the N-word and saying awful stuff, and you just kind of like have to just focus on the game. But it's just, I don't like it. It's never been my vibe. So I'm more of a single player guy, especially if it's an RPG. Mm-hmm. Baldur's Gate 3, absolutely like my favorite game of all time right now. I like to play by myself. Even if the game lets you do co-op, I always set aside more time to play by myself. I can't do the multiplayer thing. I don't know why. My social battery gets drained really quick, and I'm kind of like, I kind of want to play alone now, but how do I tell my friend that I want to kick them out so I can keep playing by myself? Like, what do I do? And so now that I just injected this part of my life, which is, streaming and content creation, I value that time even more now, thinking to myself like, well, I might stream, but you know what? I'm going to play that's a game that's like just for me, damn it. I don't care if I have 0 viewers. I'm just going to play a cool game that I want. Mm-hmm. But, it's a good experience. And so you got back into the YouTube life once you were cheered on by your boyfriend husband. So what was the change there? Once you got into it, did you see a huge growth, or was it still just everything plateaued for a while when it came to subscribers?
Everything was basically just like I'll get the one or two like the viewers that came in randomly that just happened to find it on like the For You page and got curious and then clicked away after 6 seconds and whatnot. But I mean, it wasn't really until the VisiPop thing that I got a lot more subscribers from it, and then I had a bunch of people comment underneath it, and I was commenting back. So it was like almost like I was finally getting my own little fan base of weird little nerd gremlins. And then from there I was like, well, hey, I like fan fiction. Why don't I just start throwing fan fiction on here? And then some of those videos did like flop immediately, and they still flop. Other ones have like people love them, and I get views from them. And then I was like, oh well, I did gaming content for a long time, since I got all this like since I know how to actually record now, why don't I try again with some of these LPs? And then I started Pokemon Black, did that solo for a while until Cameron joined it like towards the end. And then from there, Cameron's just been just like there, always commenting on something I'm doing wrong.
So, I mean, how did it feel to actually... I know that it would have been frustrating for you to start doing the career again, and then you don't see a lot of views, but how did it feel when once people started catching on to you, meaning they started sticking by you, and they actually became community members, and these are people that you actually like, that it's not just randos that just hop in and then they just leave and you don't even know who they are. So how did that feel for you, seeing that growth?
I feel kind of lucky to have the people I have right now, especially Elf. Elf is like the biggest person. He's like the main person that I put on a pedestal. Not to undermine the other people. He's just the main guy. Like, he just happened to come in during one of my like Minecraft hardcore things where I just kept dying every stream because I don't know how to play Minecraft to save my life.
Yeah.
And then he kept popping in. He randomly made like a compilation of me dying plus like funny moments and me failing at the game. And I was like, hey, can I like put that on my thing and like pay you for it? And then after some talking, he's just now my editor.
Oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah.
That happened to me with that other female streamer I told you about, Shiro. I started editing stuff for them because they helped me out with the same way that your boyfriend did, helping me out with the technology, with kind of understanding Twitch and OBS. And so as a thank you, I saw that she had a ton of clips on her Twitch, and I'm like, dude, you can edit this in a few minutes as a TikTok, and then you can put your highlights on TikTok. She's like, I don't know how to edit. And I was like, you know what? I know how to edit. Give me those clips. And so I started doing it for her. So I did like 2 or 3 for her, and, you know, she was really thankful. I do like that about, you know, when you find these random people in the community that, so to say, they kind of prove the idea of the internet wrong, where a lot of people think like, oh, the internet is just packed with a bunch of weirdos that they just either want to do spicy stuff with you or just sell you something. That's all they are. And so it's great to find people like that you can connect with, and you just build a community off of that, and it feels good. Mm-hmm. And so when, like, I see that you posted a video about when you just crossed over to 500 subscribers, like, how did it feel to do that video where you had that Q&A session, and, you know, you got to be one of those YouTubers that could actually make that type of video, like, thank you so much for 500 subscribers, you know. Did you believe it at the time, or you're like, oh, this is gotta be fake, this can't be it?
It did feel like unreal to me. I'm like, 500 people saw my dumbass, and they're like, oh, we gotta subscribe for more of this shit. But I didn't actually have a lot of people that submitted stuff, so I just asked my friends, like, hey, what do you ask someone on like a first or second date? Like, give me that kind of shit. So I was answering those kind of questions, having fun with it. But I still don't believe it. Like still, like I don't even know how much I have. Like 680, I think.
I'm looking at it right now, and you did 680 at the moment.
Yeah. And that still feels weird to me to have that many people be like this bitch is kind of cool.
And so also you're brave enough to show your face and have you had people kind of look at you and be like, yo, I think I know you? Or not yet?
Not yet. I mean, I had people in my IRL life that I've told about this, like my friend Brandon and Mason. They've come in before. Same thing with a lot of Cameron's friends, actually. They sometimes pop in, like Andrew, Hayden, Heisen, and William, I guess. But like they're respectful. They don't like say my real name or anything out or anything like that. But I have yet to see someone be like, "Hey, wait a minute, I work with you," or like, "Hey, you were at this X company for a while," or anything like that, which is nice.
Yeah. I the person I interviewed last time, she did mention that sometimes people will go up to her and be like, "I know you," but they just leave it at that. I know you, and so it's like you don't know how to follow up with that. You're like, okay, like.
Do I know you?
Mean? What do you mean? And so people they say, "Oh, I know you, I think from TikTok." The funny thing is that she mentions that because of the way she cuts her hair sometimes, they confuse her with another creator on TikTok. And so sometimes they say, "I know you, you're this creator, right?" And they're like, "Oh, no, I'm actually this one." Oh, okay. And so they just kind of go and leave. It's like, "Oh, sorry to disappoint, I'm sorry." So I would be freaked out. I mean, I do or would like maybe later on in life, if my channel grows pretty big, maybe to do a face reveal if I want to take this a little bit more seriously. But that is one thing that I am nervous about. I'm a very private person, and to have somebody say, "Hey, I've seen your stuff," and not know if they're going to be like, "Dude, it sucks. It's awful," or just be like, or just be like, "Hey, it is pretty cool. I'm a fan." But I'm in the New York area. People tell it like it is. So I just don't know. Somebody like, "Hey, yo, Digi, your stuff sucks." Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate the love. Thanks. Please like and share and subscribe.
Yeah, my friend has that concern too, because he does streaming. Not as much now, because he's doing the whole job thing. But he has a VR model that he uses. He's never going to do a face reveal. He's never going to do a name reveal or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because because he wants that privacy. Which I don't blame him, but
yeah. And so I'm looking at your profile right now, and the name jumps out to me. Phoenix Flare. Why that name?
I have no idea. It was an OC I made when I was in high school for this book thing I was writing that has long been forgotten and just thrown in the back of the docks, called like The Elements. And I made a character called Phoenix Flare. And then from there, I just kind of like adapted it to just fit me more. Because, I mean, Phoenix Flare was just like a carbon copy of me. So I brought her back, molded her into a way that I can molded her into a way that I like, and then just threw her back out into the public.
Okay, so, I mean, how did you change her? How did you mold her? To like what aspects did you change that you're like, okay, this is what I wanted?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the exact thing how she was. She had very long red hair, one brown eye, one green eye, a phoenix tail, and pasty white. I mean that's staying. I'm still pasty white and whatnot. But instead of just having her as a human, I just made her into a bird. I mean that was somewhat the powers I gave her, is that she could turn into a phoenix. So the headcanon is that in the VTuber model thing, she's just in Phoenix form the entire time.
Oh, cool.
Mm-hmm.
When you mentioned that you wanted to do a plushie, it was about you or the bird?
Oh, definitely for the bird. I would love a little bird plushie.
And I found that interesting because when I first saw your stream, you had your persona on, your avatar, but then you just casually just switched your camera on and started showing your room. So I was like, oh, okay. Because you tend to think that when somebody has the avatar on, that's it. They just want to keep that a secret. But when you just casually turned everything on, so you like to just switch it up, keep it hybrid?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, basically, whenever someone, like, comments on anything that I like, I'm like, oh, you really want to see what I like? And then I just, like, throw out all the plushies, and I'm like, yeah, I'm an idiot. I have special interests.
And so, speaking of special interest, then, I'm an old fellow here, so I'm gonna ask something. What is Wattpad?
Oh God. Well,
We're going there.
okay. So I don't know how well I can explain it, but Wattpad is a website where people can write fan fiction based off of like fandoms, like Adventure Time.
Oh
like
wait,
Steven
it's
Universe.
Is it fanfiction.net basically?
Yeah, I mean, there's AO3, fanfiction.net, and Wattpad. Those are like the main three for
Yeah.
fan
Oh my god,
fiction.
fanfiction.net still exists. I'm looking at it right now. Holy crap. Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, you were saying I'm listening. Don't worry about it.
But yeah, I've had one since like middle school. I don't even remember my first account. That one's probably like long dead. I don't remember the the password for that one.
Yeah.
But I redid one. I have like 1,000 books in my library right now, and I've always liked fan fiction, so I was like, might as well like read some for the channel. And, like the first one I've ever done was just me sitting in a room with the webcam on, just reading off my phone and like pointing out a couple things.
Yeah.
And then that transitioned to me having a guest with me. That way we can like enjoy / make fun of the fan fiction.
So then you just read, or you read and write?
Me personally, I do read and write.
Okay. But the writing part, that's your personal stuff that you don't want anybody else to see?
Oh, I mean, it's out.
Oh, okay.
I've had writing streams of me just like basically just calling myself out for being a simp, and I'm like, all right, guys, so what's the scene gonna be like in this one?
Yeah, I know you read this when I wrote it in chat. I used to do fan fiction. I would write for the X-Files. Mm-hmm. And I saw that you started getting information on what the X-Files is. Pretty good show. Highly recommend it. It's timeless. So they're not gonna make any references that you're like, I don't understand what's going on. It's still pretty awesome. Now, I was in middle school when I was writing this, but at the same time, I was in a really weird Christian phase. So I added a really cringy dash of just Christianity to it. And I remember that I did write a fan fiction on X-Files that it was the female lead, Scully. She was, I think, diagnosed with cancer because I think aliens infected her with something. I don't freaking know. But by the end of the fan fiction, it was like she collapsed, she got into a coma, and so they brought her into a hospital. And the last thing was that Mulder, which is the male lead, was praying over her. And then she wakes up and she sees him praying, and then the doctor walks in and says, hey, we ran all the tests, and it says that all your tests are positive. And me, being the idiot that I am, I thought that positive meant good in a test when it comes to medicine. And I write Mulder meaning, oh my God, thank God, Scully, I love you so much. You're like cured, this and that. And so when I showed it to some of my friends, they're like, dude, do you know that positive means bad, right? And I'm like, oh, whoops. And I kind of forgot to correct that, so it's out there. It's like, I don't know. It was cringy as hell. I don't have it anymore, but I mean, I never deleted it. Mm-hmm. So God knows.
Yeah.
Hey, but, it was my work. It was stupid, but hey, I loved it.
my fan fiction, like my first one is probably still out there. And it was cringy as hell.
So then the fan fiction stories that you read, I see that they're mostly like from Total Drama Island, and I see some of this stuff are also from Stardew Valley. Mm-hmm. Why the jump? You started with Total Drama Island, and then I see that you uploaded another ones that just were like Stardew. So why the jump like that?
It all really depends on which guest I have with me and like which interests are like colliding. So like with Jolene, they're all leaving my brain as soon as I said her name. We have some Hazbin Hotel stuff on there, a lot of One Piece related stuff as well. And then with Sage, me and him also have Hazbin on there, some Deadpool and some like Danganronpa ones. And then for Minho, it's like a circus box. It could be anything because he just likes to torture me with this shit. That's why I have Kung Fu Panda fan fiction on there.
Oh snap! That sounds awesome.
Yeah,
I love Kung Fu Panda. So this is like Rule 34. There's a fan fiction for everything.
Basically, yeah. If you look, there's there's fan fiction for it.
Jeez, I've
Yeah.
always wondered that. Sometimes I think of, is there a fan fiction about this? And probably yeah, there is. So it's just you reading with your friend, and they do like another voice or another character.
Yeah, well, most of the time we do like popcorn reading, depending on how long it is. So if if one chapter is like really long, we'll just popcorn. But sometimes if it's like a good amount, we'll just like read one chapter and then the other person reads the other chapter.
Got it. And so how has been the reception of that?
Some are pretty cool. I know one did like back in the I think it was like a Zosan one I did with my old friend Coda. That one skyrocketed out of nowhere. I'm like, how the fuck do people think like this was good? Because we have our moments, but other times it's just us reading.
And so you do this, you just record it or you do it live?
Oh, just record it. I've only done one Wattpad book club live, and it was just me because I was like, no one else is going to read this book with me, and I really want to read it, so...
And are you thinking about doing any more lives?
Maybe, possibly. I did like the people interaction, but they also were like, oh god, what is this book? And I'm like, don't judge, alright? We're just reading. This is my little interest. You don't have to be here.
You can get the hell out if you don't like my stuff.
Yeah, just leave. You don't have to.
That's funny. So, I also see, that you play Pikmin as well. I haven't played Pikmin in a long, long time. I played only the first one. Oh,
Yeah.
and I'm looking at a video right now, and you have your avatar with a little scarf and a hat. That's cute. That's funny. So, you also like Pikmin as well?
Yeah, my friend Elf recommended me to play Pikmin, and that was around the time that the Nintendo announced Pikmin 4, and they're like, if you want to continue, like, start from the beginning for all the new players, here's 1 and 2. And I'm like, perfect, I'll get that. And then from there, I played it and enjoyed it, except for Pikmin 4. Pikmin 4 sucked, and you cannot convince me it was good.
Yeah, I just played the first, so I don't know what happened with Pikmin 4.
I don't know, I just hated it. I enjoyed Pikmin 2 a lot more than Pikmin 4. And that, I don't know if that's okay for me to say in the Pikmin fandom.
What, they're gonna go after, they're gonna swat you?
There's a lot of people that are like, oh my god, Pikmin 4 is so good, and I'm over here like, it's garbage, I hated it.
So, I mean, but what's the difference in terms of, mechanics or graphics? Like, what is it?
I don't know, I just a hatred. I just out of pure spite, I guess.
Oh, and you play also Luigi's Mansion. Whoa, that's dope. I love Luigi's Mansion. It's a solid game. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. So mainly this is your type of stuff then. Oh, I see Phoenix Wright as well. I honestly have tried to get into it, and I always keep forgetting to keep playing it because I know it's good. I know it's a good game, but I don't know why. I just kind of like dodge it for some reason because I'm playing like other stuff.
Yeah, in that one, I'm technically not playing that game since I know like how like who does it and like all the plot twists and everything. But Cameron has not, so like I'm giving him the controller and just commentating and letting him play it for the first time.
Oh, that's smart. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, because I haven't played all of them. I just played, I think, the first one halfway through.
But the
I don't
first
know.
one's so
like,
good. You just...
I know. Everybody says the same thing.
Did you at least get to episode 4?
I don't think so.
Oh my... That's the best case!
You know what? I'll try to see if I can stream it because they have it on Steam, right? I don't know why I have it on...
Yeah, they have the whole trilogy, so you can get the first 3 games.
Let me see. Phoenix Wright. Oh, yeah, a trilogy. Here it is. Perfect. Yeah, because they say it's really, really good. It's good stuff. Mm-hmm. And so you did mention, like, certain animes that you watch. Now, I gotta tell you, I respect anime for what it is. I like it to a certain degree. Kudos to Japan because they're the ones that come up with the craziest stories. And they're so original, everything they put out there. But for some reason, I've never gotten into it. I've never gravitated towards an anime that I can say, like, oh, this is my anime. The last thing that I tried to watch was One Piece, But when I saw how many episodes are there, I'm
I
like,
was about to say, can I recommend you One Piece?
there we go. That's the problem. Can I recommend you One Piece? Well, it's 1,000 episodes, but it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
No, my friend Jolene said the exact same thing. It was too long. I finally got her in it. She loves it. So just start slow. You don't have to start binging the entire thing. Just like an episode, like a day at least, and then you'll get into it. And you're like, oh, maybe I'll watch another one, and then you're at like Watergate by now. Or
Yeah, I
Water
mean,
7.
for me, it's so overwhelming because there's so many shows that I need to watch. Recently I did the Hazbin Hotel, but I get so overwhelmed because I'm like, okay, here is my super long ass list of shows that I need to catch up on. Oh, but by the way, you want to stream. So these are all the games that you got to catch up on too. And by the way, sir, you like RPGs and those are 100-hour games. And and by the way, you're kind of interested in reading another fantasy series on your books, and so I don't know how the hell I can divide my time. And then when I get to stuff like One Piece, I'm like, how am I gonna do this when I see all these episodes? And I know, like you're saying, just chip away one at a time.
Mm-hmm.
But my ADHD, dude, if I drop a series and then I come back after it like a few months later, I'm like, where the hell am I? Like, what the hell just happened? And then I'm like, should I just start again and start watching it to refresh myself? And so I don't know if I should just ask you to like, hey, I'm a newbie with anime. Obviously I know what it is. What can you suggest for me where I can just like get my training wheels on first? So, because I want this gateway drug, Phoenix. I really want to get into anime. Please help me. So,
Right.
like, what do you suggest?
I got like two answers. One's like a shit post. The other one's actually like a real answer.
Okay.
The real one is if you have Netflix, I think it's called Delicious in Dungeons. It's about a group of adventurers that are poor, but they need to go back down to the dungeon to save their friend for being eaten by getting digested by a dragon. So they venture through the dungeon once again, and they don't have no food. So they end up eating the monsters on their way down, with the help of I'm trying to remember. I think he's a dwarf. I technically think that he's a dwarf, but I might be completely wrong on that guy's species. That like helps them like prepare the food and teaches them how to cook like all these monsters and make sure like it's tasty food and whatnot.
I'm looking at it right now. Actually, as soon as I opened Netflix, the first thing it was suggesting is like, hey, Delicious Dungeon. So it's let's see how many episodes. Oh, just 10. Oh, no, wait, no, oops, no, I spoke to some 24. Okay, but they're just 26 minutes. I should be able to do this. But then see, now I'm thinking about Hazbin Hotel. I don't know.
I'm trying to remember the other one. It's basically a big shit post of this like. I'm trying to remember the name of the anime as I'm scrolling through my Discord to try to figure out where my boy like put it in. It's about this girl who used to be a delinquent and tries to hide it, and she finds a deer girl that basically is a deer and a girl.
Oh, okay.
I think it's called like Deer Club, and they have like CGI deer. It's like a big shit post.
What? But is it like good or is it a lol cow?
It's somewhat good. Like, I was sitting there watching it while trying to do, like, a little puzzle, and I couldn't keep my eyes off of it. I would recommend it. I'm trying to find the name of it. It's, like, Deer Club.
Deer Club? Let me see.
Yeah, and they have, like, badge CGI deer in there. Like, they have, like, everything else is animated except for the deer. The deer are basically just CGI'd in.
What?
Deer Club
Well, I see
anime.
here... I literally put Deer Club anime, and the first thing that pops up is something called Deer Club.
Yeah, my dear friend Noken Deer Club Under Siege. There it is. I knew I was right about this. I mean, it was really good. The 2 episodes I watched, I might go back and watch it.
I'll give it a shot. I know that some people have suggested Cowboy Bebop.
That's a good one.
They say it's a good anime series for people who quote unquote don't like anime. I also had this guy that was absolutely obsessed with Evangelion, Neon Genesis, and it is a 90s series, but he's like, you gotta watch it because I like these cerebral type of shows that just make you think, especially when it's sci-fi. So he was telling me like, dude, you gotta watch this, and it is pretty complicated to know which one to start with. I was looking at like the list of places to start, and there's like so many different names. It reminds me a little bit of Kingdom Hearts, that they have like the weirdest names for their games, and you don't know where to go. I don't know if you've ever played Kingdom Hearts.
Nope, I have not.
Yep. So people just basically, they have like the weirdest names. If you ever get the chance, look at it, and you'll see that you don't know where to start with that game, with that gaming franchise.
Yeah, I heard it's a long one. I would love to LP it, but I know Disney would copy strike that shit down so fast.
Yeah, probably. The way that they are, they're really aggressive. But then again, you have stream stuff that's from Nintendo, and Nintendo is way, way more hostile when it comes to that stuff. So you can definitely give it a shot.
Yeah, I also have like a backlog of games I gotta play first, so I'm trying to make sure I play each game that I have before I start buying new ones as well.
Yeah, that's the same thing with me. The other day I was looking through all of my stuff, and I have like 500 plus games that I haven't even opened. I haven't even touched the executable file to open. And it's like, and I keep buying new stuff, So it's like an never-ending loop for me. So I also noticed on your profile in Discord, let me look at it right now here. You mentioned that you consider yourself agendered.
Yeah.
So tell me more about that. Like, what does that mean to you? How did that journey start for you?
Well, I know for the longest time, maybe up until like at the end of high school, I fully identified as a girl. And then from there, I actually thought I identified as, like, demigirl, which is, like, somewhat a girl, but not, like, fully, Because I always felt some kind of disconnect to my own gender. I was like, oh, that probably is it. And then when I later was doing a lot of reflecting, I'm like, oh, so it's not that. I just feel like nothing, basically. I was like, oh, that explains why, like I don't mind if, like, people refer to me as a boy or a girl or a non-binary, use like any kind of pronouns and whatnot. It's not that I didn't mind and I didn't care. It's just like I don't feel anything.
Yeah. So, I mean, this was you in school that you started feeling this way, or was it later on in life?
I think it was when I was in the middle of my college career.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When I at least became demigirl. I was still somewhat demigirl when I met Cameron, and then from there, maybe like now, like maybe 2 years now, I'm identifying as agendered.
So, I mean, demigirl, like, what is that overall?
That's basically, I know my experience is not canon to everyone else's, at least.
Yeah, of course,
but to
it's
me,
your experience.
But to me, it's just feeling as a girl, but a disconnect almost. The best way I describe it to people, because it's like an underground term, it's like a micro label in some level, like a mini label.
Yeah.
And whatnot. Like, picture like a TV, you plug it in, and that, like, the electricity runs from the outlet and onto the TV, and you get a full picture. But to me, like, the outlet's in there, but it's, like, a little bit loose, so it's hanging out a bit. So the electricity's not going through, and you're not getting a full picture. Like, it's a little staticky. Maybe it's, like, low resolution. That's how I felt with my gender. Like, it was, I can see it, but it wasn't fully there. And then I realized it just wasn't there at all.
So, I mean, what things, I don't know if you could say the environment or within yourself, kind of triggered those questions for you to be like, this is, like, different.
Yeah, I guess when I was doing a lot of online things, I mean, just the name Phoenix Flare, people don't know what I am, so they just assume, like, male sometimes. Sometimes they assume female or non-binary. And I was like, oh, I mean, like, I don't correct people, because I didn't care about how I was deceived. And then I was really looking at that, and I'm like, oh, I just don't have a concept of how I want to be perceived, because I don't think I am anything.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I ask these things because I'm as cookie cutter as they come, cis white male, I'm like straight, but I do have family members and really close relatives that are part of the LGBTQ community. And I also am going through the process of speaking with one of my family members that is doing a transition, and they've been struggling with identifying the switch between, hey, I was born and considered a girl, but now I'm doing this transition into male. This is how I'm feeling. And so it is hard because I love them. I absolutely love them 100%. Me and my wife accept them, no questions asked. But it's the family that surrounds us. It's the judgment. It's the not using the correct terminology. And it is difficult because this family that is surrounding them, we love them as well. And we kind of have to sit them down like toddlers and say, you have to understand that to them, this is extremely important that you use the correct terminology or the correct name that they're asking you to use. And they're trying to do so politely. But frankly, they're getting extremely pissed off. And it's just frustrating to see that from the outside because it's gender. You can't grab it and try to help. It's such a different concept that it just comes from the mind that all I can do is obviously is support as much as I can. But I also ask you because obviously being a gamer and also being a nerd, how do you perceive the industry differently through this lens? Are there things in terms of representation or things that you see in media that you're like, oh, this is kind of effed up, but because you see it through that, but maybe I don't perceive it?
I'm trying to think. Sorry.
It's okay.
There hasn't been like anything that I've seen at least, so I might not have an answer for that one.
So let me make it a little bit easier for you. How has been representation now that you've experienced in games and in media? Do you feel good about it? Do you feel that they could do much more? Do you think that it's being pushed just to pander?
Well, I think they've made a lot of strides because, before it was like hush-hush of what people were allowed to put in without people, like, throwing a fit and whatnot.
Yeah.
But, there's still strides to make, And, there's still a long ways to go, but they're making the strides. At least they're doing that. I got, like, at least my friend Turkish sent this of, like, I didn't realize how, like, I guess bigoted, how much bigoted people can be.
Yeah.
There's a whole Excel spreadsheet that reviewed, like 1,000+ games, and they all rated it based on how woke it was. And then
God.
It would not recommend it if it had a lot of LGBTQ stuff in it. I was like, what? I was like, why? They put Ace Attorney on there. I was like, what did Ace Attorney do to them?
What? Ace Attorney? Like, how did they rate that?
They put it as, there's 3 levels. They did, like, blue as, like, recommended, because it had no woke content, quote unquote. Yellow
no
was
people
like...
of color or no LGBT, that's
there was
woke,
a thing on there. It was like, for, like, Hogwarts Legacy, they put it as not recommended. Like, don't recommend because of LGBTQ, and then, like, you can make the dwarves, like, any color. I'm like, wow. I was like, wow, they're not only are they homophobic, they're racist too. What the hell?
Get the hell out of here.
Yeah. Yeah, so then they had, like, a yellow one where it's, like they had subtle imagery of LGBTQ or, like, some issues, and then, like, just not recommended because it was overly. And I'm like, well, I've read some of the game title. Like, they had Dream Daddy from the Game Grumps, and I'm like, yeah, of course you can be a man and marry another man. What did you expect? I'm like, I was like, you didn't have to play this, There's games for everyone.
Absolutely.
I know they had, like, Call of Duty on there, and they're, like, not recommended, because you could go as a non-binary and use they and them pronoun. I was like, that's the whole, you just shoot each other in Call of Duty.
Bullets don't have gender, sir.
Yeah, like, you added zombies, and those aren't lore accurate to, like the Cold War, but you're gonna be bent over about, like, a bunch of non-binary people wanting to play, too?
Yeah,
Get your priorities straight, dog.
Exactly. No, it is, because Look, for me, it's frustrating because of what I said. You know, I'm cisgendered, I'm straight. And so when I'm talking to other people who are in that group, when they see me, they think that they have the permission to get to that point of craziness. Mm-hmm. And let me give you an example. I was chatting with somebody, professionally speaking, on LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. And we were having a great conversation, and I was talking to them more about technology, and they're also a gamer and this and that. And the conversation was going really, really interesting. So much so that I was actually thinking about interviewing them. I was about to make the approach and say, hey, just so you know, I have this channel and I really like to interview people that I find really interesting and they're creators and this and that. And just as about I'm thinking about that, the guy writes to me, because remember, this conversation is completely professional. It was great. Mm-hmm. The guy writes to me like, oh, by the way, what the hell is that thing on your profile? Mind you, the guy never talked like that. He just switched. I thought he was hacked or something. And I was like, what do you mean? It's like, I see here, and he took a screenshot. I see here your name, and it says he/him. Okay, I mean, that's what I consider myself. Like, what do you want me to do? He's like, oh, you're in that LGBTQ shit. Is that what you're doing? And it's like, you putting that on your...
So assume that like you were trans or something?
No, he just said, he said, so you're part of that woke trans shit. Something like that, he said. And I was like, whoa, bud, where the hell did this come from? Did you just like take like a few drinks before and after this message? Like, what just happened? And I said to him very calmly, I'm like, look, yes, first of all, the he, him, it's just natural language, and I'm just being inclusive, and I'm just saying, like, this is what I consider myself. Because funny thing is that a lot of these idiots don't know that sometimes certain names can't give off the idea of, like, it's a woman or a man or whatever. And sometimes just clarifying gender helps, because I've had a few coworkers that they have Indian names, for example, and sometimes when you read them out loud, people might make the assumption like, oh, that's a guy. And absolutely not. They consider themselves, you know, he, she, her. And it's like, dude, this is just to help people understand in terms of communication. And I said, and on top of that, yes, I am a supporter of all of this. I do have family members that are transgender, and I'm hella proud to have them as family members. And I'm doing this because I absolutely support them. And so the guy went down this Bible rabbit hole. It was like, no, because Jesus said that this and that. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck is going on? What am I reading right now? And I, you know, long story short, I definitely just dodged the bullet there.
Yeah.
But it does happen to me that people see that, or they see me, or they kind of see my mannerisms, and yeah, you know, it's he, him, straight, then yeah, that's perfect. Let me just go full on racist here and just say the wildest stuff I can imagine. And it's absolutely disgusting. It's really disgusting that you have to hear all of this stuff, and then you have to stop them short and be like, yo, dude, what's wrong with you? Stop. You know, you're being... No. And for them to be absolutely insulted that you stopped them midway, and it's like, but wait a minute, dude, I thought that you were just as racist as I was. Like, what happened here? You know? And so you got to correct it and be like, no, absolutely not. Just because I look like you, or I'm in the same gender circle, doesn't mean that I automatically want to decimate this group of people. Like, what is wrong with you? And I'm asking you these things because even YouTube knows it. Even TikTok knows it. It knows I'm a straight white male. And so your For You page will be different than mine. I mean, whether we like it or not, things will be catered to those demographics, because as soon as you type in, oh, I'm a male, and, you know, I'm considered heterosexual, blah, 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 all of that goes through the algorithm, and things are going to change. So you are going to get a lot of that woke stuff, and, you know, is Ace Attorney too woke for you, or stuff like that? Is Stardew Valley too woke for you? Will it break your family and children? Will it cause a divorce in your family for playing Stardew Valley?
I'm really surprised that like Stardew Valley was not on there.
Right? Because Because I actually asked my friend Shiro, because she loves Stardew Valley. I'm like, oh, so you can just marry anybody you want? And she's like, yeah. Oh, and you can do polygamy. And she's like, no, you can't. I'm like, dude, polygamy is a real thing. So, well, you can mod it into the game if you want to. I was like, oh, you got to put that in. You know, it's your own little paradise. That's kind of the cool thing. So, yeah, I mean, that's why I asked, because I always want to get that that perspective, because I miss that stuff. I don't see it. Sometimes it goes way past me. Anybody that is basically not within my social group, or where I fall in that social group, I ask them, like, what do you think of this? Like, have you ever had really serious moments where you just felt discriminated against, or you were pushed out of a community because of who you are? So, you know, that's why I ask.
Yeah, I guess I just don't tell people. I guess I live by like a don't ask, don't tell policy.
Yeah.
So like when I go to, I don't tell anyone about me being agendered or asexual. I'm to them, I'm just a cisgendered straight female that is just here to do their taxes or something. But like everyone on everyone in my streams know, everyone that watches the videos know, because sometimes I incorporate some of the crap that I say into it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, and I guess that makes you feel more attached to your community, because, you know, everybody's like open and happy about that. Before I let you go, I always do, I want to ask you the question. Let's say that somebody goes up to you, somebody is kind of just thinking about getting into doing content creation or streaming or whatever it is, and they just want to ask you, hey, Phoenix, like, what advice can you give me for me to start this journey?
I actually do have personal experience in that category, because the only reason why my friend Hazbin is a streamer is because I was, and he was asking me about that kind of stuff too. I just say do it, you know? I mean, like, who really cares if you have like 0 people? You're making stuff that you think is pretty cool, and the right people will come to you, like, through the algorithm, because I mean the algorithm has a way of putting the right people in the right place at the right time to see the right amount of content for them to like. So I just say go for it. I mean, it can be like anything. It could be like gaming, vlog content, just entertainment, music. I mean, as long as you're making what you like, I mean, I don't see any problem with it.
What about people that are like, well, you know, it's just that it's kind of saturated. The market is really saturated right now, so I don't know if I should start from scratch. Like, everybody already has their own channels and vibes. Like, why should I?
I would just say still do it. Everyone brings like their own thing to the function, their own vibes in the air. Your vibes might flush with someone else's vibes, and they might vibe with your vibes. I mean that's basically what happened to the people that are in my little like birdie nest right now. Of like they just happen to be like, oh, this little idiot's playing like Among Us. Let's go look at it, and they liked it. And they're like, I'm gonna stick around, and then they did, and now I have like a team now with people that they had to rely on me for work, and it's a little overwhelming, but I just say do it.
That's awesome. I'm really happy for you. I mean, seeing you doing that video about doing the 500 subs, and you were just beaming with happiness, that you truly like just loved creating all of that from basically nothing, and just creating this community of like, you call them like little birdies and stuff.
Yeah.
It does feel your heart, because you are connecting with people like all around the country. And I agree with you. I think that no matter how weird you feel you are, or what type of content you have, I mean, how many people are on the internet? Billions. It is statistically impossible that you won't find somebody that will resonate with you or will connect with you and just tell you, hey man, I really like your content. Which kind of brings me to one more thing, and it's that a lot of the people that I've interviewed, when they have people telling them you do great content, and I'm saying this because I do as well, my initial thought is like, you're lying. Hell no, you're lying. No, I don't. My content is pretty shit. I could do better. I could do a lot better. And it's that imposter syndrome that just kind of just worms into your head. And I hate that at least me and some of the creators that I've interviewed think like that. Like, why is that?
I guess it's like self-doubt, I guess. and at least in my opinion, I always had like self-doubt. I'm like, this is like garbage, but I gotta get out a video, so here it is. I guess you just undermined yourself over time.
Yeah.
Like you think that you're never gonna be good enough. And I think that involves therapy, but...
Exactly that too. Well, I agree with that. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so it is something that I also do as well. For me, my rule of thumb is that when I'm editing something and I'm smiling while I'm editing it because I made a funny video or something like that, or I'm chatting with somebody like you, and as I'm listening to the audio, I smile like I'm a viewer, and I'm just listening. I'm like, oh, that's cute. I like that. And I'm like, okay, this is good. This is the reaction that I want. I'm getting this reflex reaction that is like I smile, or I find it charming, or it makes me laugh out loud because of the way that I edited. Then it's like, okay, I know that even if I throw this out there and it doesn't get any views for the next coming months, I know that somebody somewhere will turn on that video one day and it'll just like boom, connect pretty well. Same thing with you with the Hazbin Hotel stuff, that you just didn't know it was going to happen, and then all of these, and I say these to the fans with much love, all these weirdos come out and say, yo, dude, I like this shit too. This is awesome. I learned a lot. I really wanted to thank you for all the time that you've given us, Phoenix. Before I let you go, I want to know anything that you wanted to plug, any future projects that you have in mind, anything you want to invite people to?
Nothing that I'm really thinking of. I mean, I have social medias. I don't use them half the time, but but what I do, it's a shit post most of the time. Except for Twitter, I just repost like merch that I want.
Yeah.
Basically. But I do have Twitter, Instagram, and then a Discord server that I just meme on entirely.
Yeah, I just joined and it's pretty cool. So where can people find you kind of most of the time? Would be in Discord or when you're streaming?
Most of the time you'll find me in Discord. I'm always by a computer, like for like just like home and then at work and everything. I always have Discord on, so that's probably the easiest way to always like see me and also interact with people as well. Because there's a lot of cool people that are in here, like Turkish, Elf, Lego, Sage, Leslie, and then Jolene as well. They're all good, great people. I'm lucky to have them.
Yeah, I'm looking to get into the Discord just to see all the stuff that you guys are reposting. So that's going to be fun. Okay, guys, so I just really want to thank Phoenix Flare for all the time that they offered us. It was a fantastic interview. Thank you so much for having us, Phoenix. I hope to see you again, and I hope we can have another follow-up with you to see how much your channel has grown from there. So, bye, guys. See ya. You can say bye, too,
Oh, okay. I didn't I didn't want to, like, say it, and you're like, oh, fuck, I gotta read it.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. You can say it.
Bye. Hi, everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel. It's a very shitty YouTube channel, but it is a YouTube channel. Alright, going with another toad. This one's name is Fuckass. And its name is Slippy. Slippy the Frog. Because we couldn't come up with any dumber names. If you're familiar with SNG4, back in the day, there was this guy. His name was Axel. He was introduced during the anime arc and everything. He was there when Destiny died, which R.I.P. her soul. And then later, he died during, I think, Revelation. Oh, the Genesis arc, I think. And whatnot. I was very sad. I shipped him and Melanie so hard, only to see the ship die in front of me.
If you like the series and Digi's other content, remember to like and subscribe. You can also find Digi on TikTok, Twitch, Discord, and Twitter. Bye for now.